Okay, good day everyone. My name is Papa Emi Goodluck Emmanuel Graphics, and I'm very glad to have you on another edition of Design in Motion. This series primarily aims at showing you the idea on the mystery behind every design. Not really a mystery, but actually helping you understand the behind the scene of every design. So today we are going to be designing a simple church flyer. Very simple. Please note this design is hypothetical and only meant for training, so it's frictional. So we are going to learn how to design this. So as you can see, there are a lot of resources here, and remember to like, share and comment, and in the comment section you have an access to the Google Drive link to actually get the resources used in the design. So let's go. Hey creatives, so let's get started on what we want to do here. So we're actually designing a church flyer for a sort of a conference, and we're going to be using very little or not many resources for it. So let's get into it. Pay attention to every detail and to every explanation, so it helps you to understand the mystery behind every design. So the purpose of this design is to actually show a program that is coming up, and the program theme is Flight, a 2026 revival fire meeting, the assembly of eagles to portray a particular church program. So let's get into the design part. So here is the design that I was designing before. So we are going to start from the scratch again, so I want you to pay attention to every detail. So first of all, let's move to the default background of Pixel Lab. Then we move to this A, we delete off the text there. Then let's get another background, which is this white background. I'll press OK. So after doing that, move to this place. Then the image size, go ahead to the width and change it to 1065 for the width. Then the height should still be in 1280. So press OK for that. So the first thing we're going to bring into our design is background. So guys, let me just quickly talk about that. Background is very important in everything you want to design. The first thing is in getting your background, which you can get from many places that we are still going to learn as this series continues. So actually, when getting a background for a design, you don't get any background, you get a background that actually depicts or that can actually convey the message that you are trying to bring from the design. So since this is a church flyer that is talking about flight and using eagle as a symbol, so we are going to get something stuff like that and others like that to actually portray this. So I'm going to first import my background by going to import here. So going to import here, I'm going to quickly look for my background. So while I'm still looking for my background, I just want to tell you that you can get your background from many places from your Google search, and you can also get your background actually from Pinterest, which I would suggest Pinterest as one that you can get your background from. Okay, so here is the background. So I'll click on this. Okay, here is the background. So if you have watched introductory video to Pixel Lab, you know I said you don't draw or enlarge any resource from here or from here, you use here instead. So we are going to draw this to fit in the whole space here and then bring it here. So I will move to my relative position and center it in the middle. So guys, this is the background already. I'm doing nothing here because this background has been manipulated a bit before. So maybe in one of the series we are going to talk about manipulation of background. So let's quickly move. So let's lock this up to make our work very fast. I'm just going to bring in what I have done before, and then we'll use that as a guide to move very fast. Please pay attention to everything. So here is what has been done before. So I think the first thing that we should write here is flight. So let's move on with that. We should write flights. So I'm writing flights, which is a theme of the conference. So after writing flight, I press OK. Bring it here. I'm going to increase the size. Yeah. Okay, guys. So I'm going to change the color to white. I'm using color white here. So then from my fonts, I'm changing this to this particular font, this share. So here's the front font I want to use actually. So from this, I'm still going to enlarge it a little bit, increase the size. So let's say I'm using 215. So after this, let's just do some adjustment to it. Okay, so just to move to your spacing here and just increase the spacing to 2. So let's just use 1. Okay, then move to shadow, enable shadow, click on here and reduce the opacity of the color to almost 0. Then go to object X, click to object Y, click to, and OK. So let's increase this a little bit again. So let's say we are using 220, and the relative position, I'm going to position it at the center. So I'm going to let this be at the center like this, center properly. So make sure it centers properly. Alignment is very important as a graphic designer. In aligning everything you want to do properly, alignment is very important. So I'm going to just try and shift this flight a little bit upward here, and then another thing I want to do here is to actually go to 3D rotate and trying to tint it a little upward, So I'm going to go to x-axis here, y x-axis. So I'm going to increase it to about 8. So let's just use just 8. So I'm going to do some manipulation actually on this flight itself, and I want you to look carefully at what I'm going to do. So on this flight, I want to create I'm going to use a shape to actually create a space where I can still write something on it, but with sort of just make some things disappear out of it. So let's just get through with that. So I'm going to click on my shape to get shape here. So I'm going to resize the shape to perfectly fit in from this F to this T at the middle. So, and it can even be beyond. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. So you are going to place it like this, then click OK. So for the shape, let us change the shape color to red, something like red. So after changing the shape color to red, I'm going to merge them together. So I'm going to merge here. You click here and you click here and here, then you merge together here. Now to make the space we actually draw the shape to be empty or to sort of fade off so I can write my text, what I just have to do is to go to erase color, choose the color red, and I'll get a space in there. So this is what I'm saying. I move to erase color here, then I click enable, but I'm not erasing the white color, I'm actually erasing the red. So I'm just going to use my color picker to pick color red and write OK. So guys, you can see that we're having a particular design out of this. So from here, I'm just going to put my tolerance to 22, and smooth edges I'm going to increase it just a little bit so I don't get things mixed up, just a little bit. So just maybe 50, and then 2 is enough. So I'm going to click OK. So the next thing, let me try and increase this a little bit more. So let's increase the relative size again so that we'll be able to get what we want to do. Remember, this 16 at the center. So now let me write 2026 revival fire meeting. So I'm just going to write that there. So after getting this, I'm just going to write 2026 revival fire meeting. So let's get started with that also. So I'm going to shape here, click here, and then let's drag this here, and I'm going to write 2026 revival fire meeting very quickly, so I want us to be fast, so this is taking much of our time. And I'll change the color also to white like I did there. I'm going to change my font, so I want to use this particular font. Let me use this. No, let's use Milka or Akira. So I'm going to use Akira's Android demo. So I'm going to write the assembly of Eagles using the same test that I used for 2026 revival fire meeting. So I'm going to add a shape. So guys, please pay attention to this also. So to add the shape, I'm going to have to draw the shape and size this up to this extent and draw it to make sure that this flight revival meeting and the shape, they are all aligned at the center and at the same space. So here I'm going to place this here, and I'm going to choose color, this deep red. So guys, from my stroke, I'm going to increase my stroke to 3. Then my stroke color, I'm going to change it to white. Then the blur radius, I'm going to change it to 5. So again, after getting the shape, so I'm changing the color to red, then the stroke width to, let's increase it to 4. Then I will go to my blur radius, then to 5 to get that effect. Let's make some correction here. Let's increase the blur radius to something like 8 to 10. I mean to 10. So I've increased it to 10 actually. So I'm going to place this shape at the back of the assembly of Eagles so that it will come to front. So I'm going to go here actually and just press this down and just move it at the back like this. So I have this here, so I'm going to fit it properly here by using my move button. So I'm going to do this also. Okay, so this is now looking how it should. So make sure that this is at the center of the shape. Okay, so let's move on. Let me try and reduce this shape a little bit. Okay, so we have more space. Then I move this like this. Okay guys, so we are here so far. So the other things that we have to do now, let's first bring in the 3 pictures that we have in here very fast. So I'm going to bring them in very fast. So just pay attention to every little details, as they are very important in learning. So the mystery in design is you have to understand what you want to design, you have to get the right resources, and you should be able to blend the element of design from the color to hierarchy to contrast if needed and other stuff like that. So I'm going to bring in these 3 pictures, okay, from here. So the first one is here, so I'm not really making any change than just drawing this down. So I'm again. So I'll also copy this to enhance the quality. So I'm bringing this here actually. The man in the middle is the host, so I want him to be in the front. I'll just click to front here to bring him to the front. I'll reduce this a little bit. Okay, bring this here. Then this I'll reduce a little bit. Let's reduce more and more. Reduce. Okay, let's bring this here. Reduce a little bit. Bring this here. Let's lock some of the things we have done so they don't just move around. So let's lock this up. So this here, so for this man, I want him to face the right side. So I'm just going to go to crop here and inverse mode for him also, so he's facing this side now. So one thing I want you to understand in doing something like this is that you must make sure, number one, that they are in they are properly arranged. And how do you make sure that they are properly arranged? You make sure they are properly arranged by making sure that the head are in the same places. How do I make sure of this? I can actually use my lines to get this straight. So here is where my lines are. So I'm just going to bring in the line, click on here, and you can just drag this down here. So you see if they are both at the same place. So you know this lady art, we have to move her up a little bit. Okay, so this is looking perfect now. So what I just have to do is to input the names, and then we are almost done. I want to make sure that these people are actually in the center. So let's make sure they're in the center, then we lock it, and we lock the picture. So I think this is better now. Okay, so let's just lock the straight pictures. So I'm going to use this font again, so I'm just going to copy it. So guys, another thing I want you to note is that while using pictures, pictures can also determine your font. Like they can also determine the type of font you will have to use. Pictures can also be determinant of that actually. So the pictures that you might want to place in can be determined. And another thing I want you to understand is that in using fonts and design, you don't use too much of font. 2 to 3 is enough. Using up to 4, it can be practical in some design, but can actually be overwhelming in other designs. So 2 to 3 is the standard. So I'm just going to reduce this size a little bit so it can fit in, and I will go to my align at the center. So Pastor Yadekunle is the host. For the host, I'm going to change the color. So you can actually change color separately even in a whole word. So you just have to go here and highlight only the host and then create this color yellow. So then let me copy this to write the other names. The last things we just want to add here, the time and the location. The date and the location. Okay people, finally we are done, but just to make a few adjustments, I'm going to try this in a little bit so that we're on the same line, we are not passing the one line. So this in a little and then this a little in also. Okay, so let's have something like this. So finally we are done with what we are designing, and I hope you have learned a lot from this video. So you can just go ahead and save this here. I'm going to export, and I'm going to export in Ultra, save to gallery, and then we are going to do few editing and we are done. So here you can save as project, and yes, you can save as image. Remember, you only save as project so you can work on them later as your project. So I'm going to go to Snapseed, which is a very good and very easy app to use to actually enhance your design. So on Snapseed, I'm going to open the design we just did and add some editing to it. As I've said in the introductory video to Pixel Lab, your pop from your looks is the best thing you want to use as a designer to enhance your design. So I'm going to click on pop here to have the design pop out. So after getting this, I'm just going to do some adjustments using my tools. On tools, I'll go to details, increase your detail a little bit, and increase your sharpening also a little bit. Then from this, just click OK. So I'll go to tone image, I'll reduce the brightness just a bit. Then I'm going to work on the outline just a bit. Then the ambience, I increase it just a bit also. Then my moments, I can just increase it just a bit. Remember, you can do auto here, adjusting it like this. So finally, I'm going to go to cleaning themes, and here the size strength, I'm going to reduce it to 0, while my grade, I will increase it a little bit more. I'm using 25. So I'm going to export the image. Finally guys, we are done with what we are designing. So thank you for joining me on this edition of Design in Motion, where we examine the backstage of design done. So this is a church flyer, though hypothetical, that make us to learn a lot about alignment, because the design is in the center alignment. That will talk about how to use your images, how to use your font, and some other stuff. So I hope to see you next class, next section, more creative, more amazing, more wonderful. Thanks for joining. Remember again, please share, comment, and subscribe so you can get notification on the next series. Thank you. God bless you.